Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to All About Racing for Power Grid's elite tier here on a Tuesday night, and we're here for the 8th round of the season in Monza in the 9th season of racing. As we go into qualifying, a minute in or so, the track here has 2 DRS zones. It's 11 corners, 2.6 miles and 5.793 kilometres. Of course, this is nicknamed the Temple of Speed, with averaging miles per hour at around 180 when we get into qualifying proper, as we see a few cars out on track already. Looking to the drivers' standings, Milan's leading the way in that one on 318 points. Hilly in second on 176, quite a way behind. 6 points behind him is Chaz on 170. 141 points for Riley in fourth, and fifth is Lee Webb on 128 points. Sixth race is Looney. Eighth is Speechy. 9th is Disco, and 10th is Imox Toll. The constructors' standings, Alpine leading the way with that one, 363 points, 341 points for Ferrari. Haas are on 253, 244 points from McLaren. Mercedes on 234 points, down in 5th. 6th place is Racing Bulls, Aston Martin 7th, Williams 8th, 9th is Red Bull, and 10th is the Kick Sauber team, as we've got Dan White starting his lap, winding up through the gears, going down towards turn 1, which has been reprofiled for 2024. We'll be going in a few weeks' time after the Netherlands, and then on to Monza, and then Azerbaijan after that, which is now being taken place at the back end of the season, and then Singapore, and then we go on to the Americas towards the final part of the 2024 season. Dan White going into the second chicane here, turns 4 and 5, and down towards the two right-handeds of Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2 being dealt with now, and then down the long back straight towards the Ascari chicane, which again has been reprofiled for 2024, won't be in the F1 24 game, but that could happen next year. Into the Ascari chicane and invalidates into the first part. I will apologise for the stream this week. We've gone back to just the old-fashioned way of doing it on the PlayStation itself. Just got to sort of a few things out with my laptop, so we should be back up and running as normal from next week. So who's next up? It would have been Hathman, who was ahead of Dan White, who's now entered the pits. 120.7 for him, 120.7 for Windsward, who is taking provisional pole as the grim sleeper in the Sauber, down in the bottom of the championship, as I just said. Now third place for him for the time being. A 121.6 for Riley in the Mercedes, and those four, the first four to set a lap time. We're still waiting for Lee Webb, and he is down in 5th in the standings. No wins to his name this season. He's had one pole position, no podiums either, nor are there any fastest laps. He's completed all 7 races up to now, so been getting good points, and that's why he's 5th in the championship standings. He starts his lap now, again winding up through the gears towards the first turn. DRS open, will ride on board with him for the lap, and we'll evaluate after he is done. Bear with me 2 seconds, guys. I'm having a bit of an issue with my HDMI port. My pictures just seem to have gone, so just bear with me a second. I'm still here. I'll just keep you up to date once I get it sorted. I think I've got it sorted. I still need to get the PlayStation fixed, and I think it's getting to the point now where I definitely need to get it fixed because my bodging isn't working. A provisional pole time there for Chaz Ryder, who is sitting in third place in the championship at the moment. 1 win to his name, 3 poles. Will he make it 4 today? The second driver to get into the 119s now, and 200ths faster than Speckbalg in second at the moment in that Alpine. Who is next up to complete a lap? It looks like it will be Dan White, who did invalidate his lap on the previous attempt. He had 6.5 minutes to go. He'll have another attempt that he'll be able to take with the time left on the clock. We'll see what he can do for his penultimate attempt here around the final corner of the Parabolica and up towards the line. Dan White sets a time of a 1:21.3. The bottom driver up to now, Fred Tuck, not the next man up. The Eagle would have been, but he did invalidate, but it was a 1:36 anyway, so would have slowed up knowing about the invalidation. Fred Tuck now coming up towards the line. It's looking like it's going to be a 1:21 just, but had invalidated as well. It's Craig MC round to final corner, but he's also invalidated. They're going to come back to the pits, get on a fresh set as Craig does. And Fred Tuck going over the grass there at turn 1, not even taking the escape road with the directional bollards, which you can't actually go around on the game. The turning circle of the cars aren't actually good enough, so we're waiting for the Eagle to come back in. Is anyone else on a lap? Wiggy is, he's a second up on his previous attempt. If that's still the case, coming around the final corner to the start finish, we're looking at a top 5 start potentially for him, especially if he can improve in the final part as Wiggy goes third fastest there, 120.032, the fastest driver in the 120s. Still only those two in the 119s, waiting for Eagle and Fred Tuck to come back into the pits. As Dan White does still a time there of a 121.3 after a couple of invalidations. Vespucci has invalidated as well, and then we've got Hyattson. No idea how to pronounce that. Now going down the back straight towards turn 11, the final corner on the racetrack. Oh, ignore that. That's my phone trying to get the track back up, which I forgot to do earlier on. So as he comes round the final corner, draining all the battery as he possibly could. It's second fastest, it's another 119.968 and slips to 2, only 0.02 of a second faster than Speckvalg with 1 lap remaining. I think Hateman will be able to get into the pits again and get back out as Craig MC comes out of the garage down towards turn 1 as we wait for Dan White to come around the final corner so he can come in to get a quick service and get back out there again. So is Wiggy after him. He set that lap a few moments ago at 120.032. The last driver now in the 120 deads. Have we got anyone on a lap? Is Winsward on a lap? I think he's just started one here as he comes down towards turn 1, the Rataphilia chicane. Bear with me, guys. So Winsworth there is just over a 10.5 up on his time as he gets close to the drive. He's just coming out of the garages now and down towards turn 1. We've got a few out early on as Craig is on a lap at the moment going down towards the Ascari chicane, just doing the turn 6 there. Into the Variante Ascari, and he's invalidated again, and he doesn't have the fuel to go again. Is he going to get a lap in at all? I don't think so. It looks like Craig's going to be starting from the very back as Jazz starts to warm up the front and rear tyres down the back straight here whilst getting out of the way of faster moving cars like the Grim Sleeper, who is just a smidgen up on his time. Will he get into the 119s? Will he get into the 120 deads along with Wiggy? It's going to be a 120.1. Stays where he is, but a 1 1/4 second up on his previous attempt as Jazz starts his lap there. As you can see in the background, his other cars now coming around the final corner to start their final attempt with 45 seconds left on the clock. A stream of cars coming down that back straight to start their final lap as Chaz also starts his on provisional pole at the moment. We see a 119.8, before the end. Craig has retired, so will be starting from the back as long as everyone else can get a lap time in. Fred Tuck trying to get that lap time in with 20 seconds to go. Here comes Fred Tuck now, up towards the line. It's 10th fastest and just beat the flag. The next car will be Jazz and then the Aston Martin of Lee. I can't move that for whatever reason. There we go. Here comes Jazz to the line as we get Lee ready to go. It was slightly faster, just under 2/10, but doesn't move position. It's a tenth and a bit faster for Lee, and he moves up into 7th. Here comes the Grim Sleeper. He's up next, and then we've got Chaz up next on provisional pole at the moment, doesn't go any faster. Then the Red Bull of Wiggy shares the front row alongside him. Now around the final corner comes the Alpine of Speech and the Eagle as well. Oh, sorry, Speckbalg. The Eagle crosses the line, goes on to provisional pole. Speckbalg with a 119.7. The next car up is the Mercedes of the Plevolence, and he goes on the front row as well. A 118 for him there as we wait for the final couple of cars here. Speechy, I think, will be the final driver, but he's down on his time. A full battery. That is the end of qualifying here in Monza. Speckbalg on pole. The Plevins alongside him. Chaz was on provisional pole almost to the very end, but will be starting in 3rd place. The top 5 all got themselves into the 119s. So here's your final order for qualifying at round 8. Speckbalg on pole, Plevolence alongside him in 2nd, Chaz Knight Rider 3rd, Wiggy 4th, 5th is Hman, the Eagle is 6th, 7th is Speechy, the Grim Sleeper 8th, Lee Webb 9th, 10th is Windsworth, 11th is Fred Tuck, Riley 12th, 13th is Jazz, and Dan White starting in 14th, and 15th is Craig MC, who didn't have a lap time underneath him. So as we get the formation lap underway, we started with 14 in qualifying, we ended with 15, which starts the race, a 15-car grid. We'll have a look at the tyres for this evening. 12 on mediums, 2 drivers on the hards, no one bothering to touch, wrong one. No one bothering to touch the soft tyre to start off with. I wonder if those 2 drivers on the hards, especially Speechy and Craig, will they go to the softs before the end? As of course Craig has really nothing to do starting at the back. He didn't actually get a lap time underneath him in qualifying, and so probably just going to take it easy, take it lap by lap, corner by corner, literally for him. Obviously struggling with track limits here, and obviously not wanting to get too many invalidations or track limit warnings to the point where you're getting 3 seconds, 6, 9, and it just sort of tailspins out of control at that point. This is one of those tracks though where track limits are vital. It's a track where you really want to sort of get everything out of it, as there's only 11 corners, and realistically you're looking at sort of 4 or 5 braking zones around here, so every corner counts, just like the Red Bull Ring in Austria as well at the same time. But it's just a lot faster here. This straight that's around 1.5 kilometres long. It's Spec Bauer getting ready to get on the grid, far ahead of others, as the Plevelance just coming onto the grid now. As Spec Bauer takes his place on pole position, left hand side down towards turn 1. You're on the outside for turn 1, so most drivers on pole do like to cut across, and of course Plevelance will slip into that slipstream to get those extra kilometres an hour towards turn 1. As we wait for Craig, it's looking like a 1 stop, maybe 2 stop. It's not showing the hard tyres to actually be a tyre of choice here, just those 2 main strategies as well. So mediums to hard, or medium hard, but it could be medium soft more than likely for these guys. As we get ready to get going, we have a good camera angle for this time around. We've got 5 red lights, and we're away here in Monza for the 8th round of the season in the elite tier. And Spec Bauer getting a good launch here. The Plevelance going to try and slip into the slipstream, but Chaz has had a very good start already alongside the Mercedes here as they go down into turn 1. The Haas completely out of control and is taking out a couple of the cars in the process. Chaz getting a 3-second time penalty, having to go over the curbs there on the inside of the chicane, or starting on the outside, then the inside for turn 2, and he's got a 3-second time penalty. I'm sure he will try and appeal that later on. He's alongside the Eagle into the second chicane, the Della Roggia chicane, and he has lost that place. Eagle up 3 places from the start, and Chaz down 1 with that 3-second time penalty to his name as well. But of course, that wasn't really a fair decision there. He had to take evasive action, or was forced to, by a Haas going straight into the side of his Ferrari. Down towards the Ascari chicane, Spec Bauer still leading us out of turn 10 down towards turn 11, and then it's the Plevelance, Eagle, Chaz, Wiggy, Winsworth, well it was, and then the Grim Sleeper has just got past Winsworth, Lee Webb, and then Riley down in 9th, and Frere Tuck into 10th place, up 1 position so far. Hechtman is down in 13th, the one that caused that incident where Chaz got a 3-second penalty. We're on to lap 2 here, and of course Spec Bauer takes the fastest lap. It's Lee Webb trying to go past here, and then the Red Bull of Winsworth trying to go up the inside, and then the Grim Sleeper has been spun around here and is facing the wrong direction, and down in last place. DRS enabled of course as well on this second lap as we go around the Curva Grande on towards the Della Roggia chicane. Is only a 10th or so between the top 2. And look at the Red Bull of Wiggy there, he was all out of shape and was ghosting as well for some reason. Lee Webb in 6th place now. So we'll have DRS down the front straight. We do have DRS of course, down to the Ascari chicane, which was the first time today. These top three, though, just broken away from Chaz Knight Rider. The two behind, the Plevolins and Eagle, will both have DRS, as the Eagle almost pushing that Mercedes out of the Parabolica as we go down this 1.5 kilometre straight. Plevolins going for the overtake here, happy to go to the outside. If he can outbrake him, he will have the inside at turn 2. It looks like he has the inside line bumping over the curb. That would have slowed him down. Maybe Spec Valve will get the switcheroo here. Not just yet. Did get a better launch though, so might be looking for an overtake at the Della Rocha chicane as we go through the curve at Grande. The Eagle sizing up an overtake on Spec Balg instead. He's going to have to go to the outside. A bit of a lock up there from the Alpine as we go through the Della Rocha chicane and onto the two Lesmo corners. As down at Della Rocha, there's some overtakes here. Fred Tuck has lost a couple of places. Dan White now in 9th place, and just as we go off them, the Eagle is spun at the second right-hander at turn 5. At the second Lesmo corner, down in 15th place. Williams 14th and 15th now. Craig not coping well with the hard tyre to start off with. And the other driver on hard tyres, Spec Valve, and he's also having a bit of trouble getting heat into those tyres. Around the Parabolica once again. Looking at this midfield battle here for 5th place with Lee Webb at the front of this queue. Riley just about to breeze past. Nice and easy there, just like overtaking the outside lane on the M5 as we go around the first couple of corners. Looking at the back, the two Saubers and Williams both not having a very good time of it here. Soft tyres with a front wing change for the Eagle here. So going for a very different strategy. Those top three have now changed somewhat. Chad has got in the mix. Now that 3-second penalty over him, I think that will probably be removed. Speechy here going for an overtake, so is Hateman. Causing that incident earlier on. Then we've got the McLaren between them, the lone McLaren this evening, then the two Saubers and the two Williams, one of them quite far behind now, 30 seconds off the back of the pack. The top three now around 2.5 to 3 seconds ahead of 4th place Riley, who has been fighting with Wiggy and Lee Webb, who's dropped back just a little bit here. A yellow flag for the Grim Sleeper, who's having some trouble at this circuit getting some of these corners right as the Eagle just goes through turn 1, so the Grim Sleeper might have to look in his mirrors for the moment. Out of the Ascari, the top three we're following here as Spec Valve still leads the race. So the Plevolins now taking the lead as we went down towards turn 1. And just watching from a slight distance as Jazz is eyeing up a move on this fast car here. Is he going to look to the left at the De La Roggia chicane? Thinks about it, but isn't lacing up on the brakes. Eagle takes the fastest lap here, down in last place. He's the only driver on that soft tyre after going on with a few laps to go. And the yellow flags up the Grim Sleeper again. I think it was. Just see a bit of debris on the camera as we go through the Ascari chicane, watching the top three again. Back to them. Just got the slightest of gaps, and then you can see in the background the midfield not too far behind them, and all of those quite close together. Go down towards turn one. Is Spec Bell going to use the DRS and the overtake button together to try and gain an advantage here? He does. He goes back into the lead again as the Plevelin slots back onto the racing line, not willing to fight it. Is Winsward going to go to the inside here? No, he's not. And then you've got the Sauber and the McLaren looking very feisty at this point. Lap 7 of 27 here at Monza. You're watching the F1 Power Grid Elite Tier on All About Racing. Keep subscribing to the channel, like the video if you can as well, much appreciated. We're back in full running order. Apologies for not being around last week on the channel. Just having a bit of a break, and over the weekend before that a music festival as well, so a couple of busy weeks. We're back to normal again as the Plevelin is all over the curb and has actually lost the front of the car and almost takes out his Mercedes teammate as well. Slots back on the racetrack down in 5th place with Wiggy just ahead of him, as it's now down to 2 drivers at the front as Chaz is just within DRS range, so we'll be able to close the gap down. Both of them with a decent amount of battery. Spec Valve using it slightly down the start finish as well. The Plevelins are going to try and gain back some confidence. Speechy moves up a place here. The hard tyre is really starting to work well for him as we go on to lap 8, and he passes Lee Webb. We've still got this close battle between one of the Haas cars, the McLaren, and the Saubers. They almost make contact here. Going through Curva Grande, the Plevelins has overtaken Wiggy back into, or up into 4th place. I think he's been in 4th place at all today, and just got his Mercedes teammate a couple of seconds ahead of him now. So that's gone to lap 9. Half a second now to operate the top 2. When we were at this point the last time around, it was just under a second, so he's gained quite a bit of time back, has Chaz, and I think we can safely say ignore the 3-second time penalty unless he gets another one, and then one more warning. I think most leagues abide by that rule. If you get a couple of warnings, however, but they may just wipe the state when he was sort of forced off the circuit, wasn't he? But it's safe to say I think he won't keep that time penalty. Actually, so Riley in a bit of a race of his own. The Plevelins, his teammate, not being able to catch up as of yet, not really gain any time. He's gained a little bit there out of the De La Roggia chicane, about 3 or 4 tenths actually, so Riley must have made a quite sizable mistake as we go down the hill under the old banking, which was used only 3 times in the Grand Prix, twice in the 50s and then in 1961 as well. I think it was 57 and 58. Yellow flags flying again. That is for a Sauber, I believe, again, and the 3 of them rather close together. Grim Sleeper, Fred Tuck and Winsward. So Chaz, did he have DRS? He did. He did just come out of that 1 second window, but only for a moment. So pit stop should be around about now for the drivers on the mediums in the next 2 or 3 laps. As Freitag comes out onto the hard tyre now, will be planning to go to the end. 18 laps to go. Still a long way to go, however, on that hard tyre. As the Prevalence now being able to get back within, or for the first time within, first time within DRS of Riley. Wiggy's been able to stick with him as well, as the Grim Sleeper again has faltered, and Riley dives into the pits, reacting quickly to that virtual safety car. The Grim Sleeper again spinning, causing that VSC. Usually lasts for around 3/4 of a lap to a lap or so. Speckbaug and Chaz would be royally annoyed about that as the Prevalence stayed out. Riley came in. It probably wasn't a good idea for both Mercedes to come in together. One would have held up the other. But the majority of the drivers coming in maybe slightly early for the pit window, but you will get that cheap pit stop with the VSC, looking at around sort of 5 or 6 second discount here today. Front wing change for the Grim Sleeper this time. Shouldn't be too long before we see the end of the VSC. Oh, his Windsward has got himself a time penalty here, a drive-through penalty, should I say. It's a major time penalty, around 15 seconds or so as we get back racing again. It wasn't long enough for the top two to come into the pits as Speckbaug comes in. And Chaz, Knight Rider, stays out to do the overcut. Craig MC stayed out under that VSC on the hard tyres, going a bit further than everyone else. He's up into 4th. It might be 2nd place, actually. Looks like it is going to be 2nd place for him as Speckbaug is just coming to the pit lane exit now, as Windsworth is out and retired in the pit lane. Very frustrated with himself for sure. With that drive-through penalty, we're down to 14 from the 15 that started today. Windsworth has left the session as well. We're not going to have any interventions from race control for that because he did retire in the pit lane. Chaz, is he going to come in this time around? We'll keep an eye on how close it is between him and Speckbaug. 22 seconds or so as Chaz does go wide, goes wide again. Would have potentially got himself a warning for going so wide that time around. Riley now only the 2nd driver so far to get a time penalty, and as I said, Chaz's I don't think will stand anyway. He comes into the pits for the overcut, going on to the hard tyres till the end of the race. So keep an eye. Craig coming around the final corner now. Speckbaug coming up to the final corner, into the apex mid-corner and out and onto the start-finish. Chaz trundling down the pit lane at 80 kilometres an hour, just coming to the pit lane exit. It's going to be very close between the two of them, actually, but Speckbaug does get the undercut, and then Riley actually getting past as well with an undercut, but Chaz on the fresher, newer tyres, 1 lap newer than Speckbaug's and a few laps newer than Riley's, and Speechy still I'm sorry, Speechy started on the hards, didn't he? And has gone to the mediums now after that VSC. Spec Valg has had a mistake here and gone off the road. Craig having a 10-second penalty. He's saying he made a mistake. He's had an instant with Craig. Craig getting a 10-second time penalty here and is still yet to pit and goes straight on over the Ascari chicane. For whatever reason, I really hope this isn't going to get ugly here. Spec Valg is a few seconds behind. Craig has got to come into the pit surely with front wing damage. He doesn't, he stays out. Spec Valg comes in. About 14 of 27. It's the second pit stop for Spec Valg. On to a set of mediums now, replacing the hard tyres. He'd only just put on a new front wing for him as well. And he's come out behind the Grim Sleeper, maybe even behind Eagle. He can be close with him and Eagle, I think. Actually, Freya Tuckett was closer with, and Spec Valg comes out down in last place, and a lot to do with less than half the race left to go. Riley has somehow been gifted the lead with Chaz also there with him, both of them having time penalties though, however. Apologies for the quietness there. Chaz getting into the lead at the end of the straight before Ascari. And the Cleveland's not too far behind. He doesn't have a time penalty. Also, would he know? He won't know, of course, that Chaz's time penalty will more than likely be removed. I mean, I'm not going to call exactly what the stewards are going to do, but it's more than likely that that penalty will be removed from the start. Riley now getting up to around 208 miles an hour at the very most, around 325 kilometres an hour before hitting the brakes for turn one. Barely any downforce on these cars on this circuit, of course. It's all developed towards straight line capabilities. And the top four all super close together at this point. so. Is it going to come down to these four at the end? Are they going to stick together? Are the Plevolance or Speechy going to get time penalties? That will also mix it up as well. Personally, for me, Riley's the only one who's in any kind of bother with a time penalty. Chaz, that will be removed for him. But it's between these four. The Mercedes looking like they're going to have a very good day today. So we're down to the last 10 laps. We've had a DNF from Craig. That was also in the pits. We're down to 13 drivers in this race. And the top four consists of one Ferrari, two Mercedes and an Alpine. Chaz, the Plevolance, Riley and Speechy as they all come down towards the Parabolica chicane. And most of them looking very good on battery. Actually, Chaz, the worst of the bunch in terms of battery performance now, less than 20% or so, and the Plevolance using that battery to good effect here to get back into the lead position. Speechy, after saying it a few moments ago, is one of those two have now got a 3-second time penalty. We'll have a quick nose actually in the race control. The Plevolance having one warning, so still got a warning in his pocket as Jazz getting past the Haas car there. Dan slotting in behind him. The Grim Sleepers in the pits. I must say, probably one of his worst performances this season so far, and look how close Chaz is getting to the back of that Mercedes. Chaz, I think, cut over the chicane there as Dan White gets a time penalty. These last 10 laps or so are really going to see who is able to keep it within the white lines, because this is where the mistakes are starting to really show. Is Chaz coming alongside the Mercedes of the Plevolance, has to slot back here, didn't have the momentum, and then Riley getting to the right hand side, to that inside first. Oh, and then Chaz trying to demand the space down the middle. Riley up into the lead here from third place at the start of the start finish straight, and when we hit the brakes he's into that lead position with the Plevolance in second. Chaz again looking feisty, and I think it's going to be between the Chaz and the Plevolance here. As I said, that time penalty should be removed. So if he does finish ahead on the road, he will win. We're about to go on to lap 21 and 27 here. Riley leading the pack as we go on to that lap 21. Doesn't look like it's going to be any changes of positions, and as I say that, it's happening. De Pleasant's up into the lead position as Chaz tries to go for an overtake on him as well. And we wait for Jazz getting closer here to the Haas car, looking to the right-hand side, left-hand side of your screen, and tries the inside line there, and then gets clouted in the rear from the other Haas car of Dan White, but stays in 7th place for now as we come out of the Parabolica onto lap 21 for 11th and 12th. As we're watching them, Chance Ryder has moved into 2nd place, overtaking Riley. It's all happening at the front. Here comes Fred Tuck getting closer within 3 tenths, 2 tenths now, but not close enough, and almost actually goes into the back of him after braking a bit too late here. As Riley now, after starting the lap in first, is into the final sector of the lap, down in 4th, might be taking 3rd now, as Speechy made a mistake there. It's been an absolutely fantastic race for Speechy up to now, starting on the hard tyre, really worked well for him, and the medium's still working to his advantage, but not for too much longer. The hards will start to show their performance in the last few laps here. Chaz getting closer and closer, moving to that inside line. It's going to have to be a battle on the brakes, and he doesn't want to take it, and then the Alpine and the Mercedes behind almost collected the Scuderia ahead of him. Speechy and Riley 3rd and 4th for now. Is Jazz now getting past the other Haas car after failing to do so on the last lap. Peyton has lost the position to his Haas teammate there. He's Dan White into that position now. Yellow flags in the 3rd sector. That's for the Grim Sleeper again, probably for the 5th or 6th time today. We've had no safety cars. We've had a VSC which was caused by Grim Sleeper, and that was around the pit stop window around 10 laps ago. Chaz Ryder back into the lead again. So as we start lap 23, Riley and Speechy have lost a lot of ground now to the top 2 as Fred Tuck is getting close to being lapped by the lead group. And it's definitely looking like a battle between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Something, of course, that we saw here in 2019 between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. And of course, Charles Leclerc taking his 2nd ever race victory here in that race, and just beating Lewis to the finish by the smallest of margins. It's a very good battle between the two of them, a very memorable battle as well, after of course he won his first race the race before in Belgium, but of course didn't celebrate all that much there due to Antoine Hubert losing his life the day before in the F2 sprint race, I think it was. So Fred Tuck getting out of the way of all the back markers. Doesn't really need to ghosting like actually. It's one of the advantages. You can kind of keep it full pace. Into lap 24 of 27. 4 laps to go, including this one. Is Speechy getting past Riley? That's the fight for the podium. They both have a time penalty. Everyone in the field actually having 3 seconds, so quite easy to keep track of here. Is Dan White getting past Jazz? As Jazz come back at him on the inside in defence? No, looking on the outside though, at turn 2, just touching the grass with the right side of his McLaren. Hayton trying to go the long way round here at Curva Grande, and Jazz trying to go the long way into the De La Roche chicane. Gonna have to try and outbrake him as we look at the view from behind of the other Haas, and Jazz not being able to get that to work as the Pleasance moves back up into the lead. And it really is going to be a fight between these two drivers. When we come around turn 11, we'll be starting lap 25, which means 3 laps to go. Just to remind you, I don't think Chaz will have a time penalty. If he gets another time penalty, however, that would mean he'd have 3 seconds, I believe, as Riley and Speechy fighting for this final podium place. Wiggy's 5 seconds back, also having a time penalty. Riley actually going over the curbs and getting another penalty there. It's a 3-second time penalty. Oh, sorry, it was 10. No, it's 10 seconds for him, not 3. He's up to 13 seconds. Speechy, I think, has just been gifted that final step on the podium. Yellow flags flying again. That's it. The 2 Lesmos, the first of the 2 Lesmo corners, down underneath the banking here on the back straight, one of the 2 back straights, the only back straight though with DRS, of course. And down towards the final couple of corners here. Chance, of course, 3rd place in the championship. Milan just absolutely storming away with it. With a massive amount of points. So Chaz got 1 win to his name. Can he make it 2? 3 podiums for this season. And who has the fastest lap? It is Speckbell, down in 10th place, getting that extra point for the minute. So Chaz wanting to do this, I think, on the start finish straight, the penultimate time of having DRS, but the best opportunity for the overtake rather than down the second straight. And then around the final corner, he's going to use the battery, I think, all the way down this straight here. A lot of it to play with. Is the President's going to know that that 3-second time penalty is going to be wiped off? Surely not, only knowing about his own race on the final lap here. Didn't even use the battery. Is now the moment where the battery will get used by Chaz Knight Rider. Hayton and Chaz again swapping places for that 6th place position. Oh, Chaz, 6 seconds. That's it. Game over. He's certainly got a 3-second time penalty now. The 1 probably will be removed. He will still get 2nd place. But the Plevolence, one of only 4 drivers not to get a time penalty today. Chaz getting close there, probably hoping he'll get a time penalty in the last few corners of this race as the Eagle takes the fastest lap, going on to his final lap, down in 11th place. Dan White getting past Chaz, who's in the gravel here on the exit of the 2nd Lesmo, through the Parabolica with Chaz right on his gearbox. But in Monza, it's the German team who's going to take the win. It's Cleveland who wins in Monza. Riley getting a 10-second time penalty, unserved penalty at the very end. He drops off the podium. Chaz will stand on the podium. It is a Scuderia at Monza on the podium, but not on the top step. His Smetbal takes takes third place. He's my driver of the day as well after starting on the hards. Only one of two drivers starting on the hards. The other one was Craig, who didn't finish and made that alternative strategy work. And Hateman and Lewis very close over the line as well, as Dan White was only 8/10 behind him, waiting for Jazz to cross the line. And then the last few cars is Fred Tuck crosses the line, I believe a lap down, and has to serve that 10-second time penalty after the fact. It's Smetbal, who was right towards the front, who got in a bit of trouble with Jazz. Takes the fastest lap at the end as well. The Eagle trying it, but losing the rear of the car out of the final corner. Here comes the Eagle to the line. And it's 11th place for him. Here comes the Grim Sleeper, and there we are. The Plevolent is your race winner. So here's your final order. The Plevolent takes the win in Monza. Chaz in second and Speechy third. Wiggy finished in fourth. Riley was fifth. Sixth was Hatem. Lee Webb was seventh. Eighth was Dan White. Jazz was ninth. Smetbal finished in 10th with the fastest lap at the very end on the final lap. The Eagle finished in 11th. Grim Sleeper 12th. 13th Fred Tuck. 14th and did not finish was Craig, and 15th and did not finish was Windsward. So thanks very much everyone who has watched along today. Really appreciate the support. Keep subscribing to the channel. We'll be back next week as normal in the United States for the Miami GP in the Miami International Autodrome, of course, around the Dolphin Stadium. And we'll be back tomorrow night as usual. Me and Lee for Extinguished Motorsport wasn't here last week as well, so apologies for that. Anyone who's watching this from Extinguish, we'll be back tomorrow at Bahrain. So until next week, or until tomorrow, we'll see you next time. Keep subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching everyone, and good night.